Welcome to Marketing Recap, the weekly roundtable that gives you an inside peek into the latest news from the world of digital marketing and what it means for your business to help you stay ahead of the curve. Co-hosted by Cynthia Johnson of Rank Lab, Blake Jamieson of BlakeJamieson.com, and BJ Smith from The Busy Marketer. Ready to join the conversation? Let's get to today's headlines. Welcome to Marketing Recap. In this episode, we're talking about updates to Twitter analytics and promoted tweets, Facebook opening its data pipeline, and what this all means for your business. If you're watching us live on the Google Plus Hangout or YouTube, we want to hear from you, so join our live Twitter chat using the hashtag MRCap. We want your questions, your comments, and we want to share some of them on the show tonight. So jump right on in the chat now, hashtag MRCap. Let me introduce our roundtable for tonight. Joining us, our resident Facebook ads expert from Pool Supply World and Arch Digital Agency, Mr. Blake Jamieson.com. What's going on, Blake? How are you doing, buddy?
Excellent.
Very good to see you over there. And
Yeah, you too.
so tough tonight. And the director of marketing and social media at Rank Lab and the editorial director for socialmediaclub.org. Please welcome the social media girl, Cynthia Johnson. What's up, Cynthia?
Hi, thanks, BJ. Hello, everyone. What's going on?
Oh, we're just getting things done this week, having a good time. I am BJ Smith, e-commerce marketing coach at The Busy Marketer and host of the Busy Marketer podcast. You can find that on iTunes and Stitcher. Plug. And my fellow podcast listener out there, please take a minute and leave Marketing Recap a rating and review on Stitcher or iTunes. It means the world to us. We want to hear what you think about the show. We want to hear how you like interacting with everybody. And speaking of interacting, again, come and join us on the Twitter chat, hashtag MRCap. So let's jump into our stories. You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this first one is kind of a two-part story from Twitter. So I think we're going to flash back a little bit to a couple episodes ago when we talked about promoted tweets. Cynthia is going to share a little bit about what's going on at Twitter right now.
So the first thing, as BJ mentioned, is that is about promoted tweets. So now you can promote tweets directly from your Twitter news feed or your tweets feed. So if you go, you see, a tweet is not popular enough, or maybe it's very popular and you want to boost it. So right there in your feed, you can just hit promote. Makes things much easier for Twitter advertisers, and probably very good or supposedly more lucrative for Twitter advertising. That's one. I actually don't have the function yet, so sorry, I can't really tell you much more other than what I read about it.
I have it, but I'm not ready to spend any money on it right now.
Yeah, that's
Do it, BJ. You're the only one that can test it.
Do it? Okay.
You can PayPal me over at...
Send us what you want promoted with $10 and we'll take care of it for you, okay? Let us know. It's hashtag MRCap. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the Twitter analytics dashboard is now it's now called Home, and it's actually really great. So it goes down, and from what I can tell, it'll say March, and it'll tell you how many days in March have been there so far, and then it goes February, January, December, November, all the way down, and just kind of keeps scrolling.
How do you get to it?
I'll send you the link.
No, how do the listeners get to it?
It's analytics.twitter.com.
That new homepage dashboard is really cool.
Nice.
I like seeing all the little stuff. I mean, it shows you all the nice, neat posts and who has. I'm sitting here telling you. Let me look at it.
Mm-hmm. So when you go down each month, at the top, it'll tell you the 28-day summary.
That is cool.
In 4 weeks, it's great. But and you have your tweets, tweet impressions, profile visits, mentions, followers. That was already standard before, but different layout. And then as you scroll down, you'll see March 2015, and so far in March, it'll say tweet highlights, your top tweet based on impressions, your top mention, and top mention is someone that mentions you and how much attention that specific tweet got. So it's not you mentioning someone else or something you sent out. It's someone else talking about you and your profile.
Yeah,
then,
my top mention is from you, Cynthia. Actually, from MR Cap. Last episode.
Welcome. Just kidding.
Yeah.
My
That's
top.
great. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. My top from February is Blake Jamieson tweeting about taking a left shark off a Tinder.
My top media tweet is actually the MR Cap Amazon giveaway Twitter iOS app on Pinterest. That's right. That got 6,500 impressions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, most of my, when I'm scrolling through here, for this year, most of my top tweets are MRCap tweets. So that's very cool.
Yay.
Yeah, Cynthia dominates the last 3 months, and then BJ the month before that. Yeah, so that's great. This is really cool, actually. I hadn't seen this before the show. I had read that article, but you know, I was obviously focused on the Facebook story. So this is cool.
It's actually a lot of fun, and it tells you who your top follower is so far in the month or for the month once it ends, and then the top media tweet, which I think is great, and media being image, link. Let me see, image, link, or Twitter cards for audio.
What about video?
Video, that's under media.
That's good.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and then it'll have your Twitter card options underneath that, and then to the right it'll tell you, okay, in March so far you've had, you've sent this many tweets, you've had this many profile visits, new followers, mentions, and tweet impressions. Which for anybody that monitors or manages an account for someone else. Or a client, that's amazing. That's great information that you want to throw their way as much as possible. And then, of course, each tweet you can click View Tweet Details, and then it'll tell you how many clicks came from embedded media. So somebody who embeds the Twitter feed onto their website or blog or wherever your Twitter feed lives, so that would be an embedded media click or embedded click period. Just depends on the type of tweet you're talking about. And then it tells you, which that was new, and then how many people expanded the media, whether that's the video or the image, replies. And then the best thing that they have on here that wasn't there before, hashtag clicks.
Yes.
So I've been doing a Twitter chat for 2 years, and do you know how many times I would love to know how many people click that hashtag? It would be great, so you know who's looking at the conversation. I know it's great for MR Cap, and I think we have enough data. Yeah, we have enough information to go back for the entire time that we've been doing this. So we'll know if you're clicking on the hashtag.
Are you clicking the hashtag? Yeah. I'm actually I've really enjoyed playing around with this thing today, so it's kind of a fun new toy for me. Just because they did a really good job of laying it out. The designer in me is kind of geeking out, even though I know this is about data. I really like it's comfortable. I think folks who aren't comfortable crunching data, who are the types of people who don't really like to get in there and look at spreadsheets, using the analytics platform that Twitter's got for us now is actually very comfortable, and it's very well laid out and informative. You can get, like Cynthia's saying, you can get so much data, but you don't have to scrounge around to find it so much.
And the other thing is, so I scrolled down and I found that Sean Merriman, right? Is anyone familiar? San Diego Chargers. He followed and unfollowed me very so back in September very quickly. And then it also says top card tweets. So if you use Twitter cards, it'll show you the top mention that you got for a certain link, and then it'll tell you how many tweets went out that were linking to whatever content you added that Twitter card to.
Yeah, it's been a while since I used a Twitter card. I didn't have the website Twitter cards. I had the kind that you actually go into ads, in the ad system of Twitter, and create Twitter cards. So today I went into my WordPress sites and I used my Yoast SEO tool to actually has a social section with a Twitter tab on it where you can enable Twitter cards, and with a little drop down you tell them which Twitter cards you want to use. I think one of the downsides is you can only use one Twitter card per page. So if we wanted to do more media, I don't know if I know that there's a media Twitter card. Like if I tweeted out the link to a marketing recap episode on Stitcher, it would actually embed a Twitter card with the player for Stitcher on there.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with SoundCloud. But I don't know if I can, and Cynthia, you might be able to help me out with this. I don't know if we can actually embed, say if I've got a Stitcher audio embedded on a web page of my own, can I create a Twitter card if somebody links to that page, that it would actually pull up that audio, or does it have to be through Stitcher?
No, you can actually do it from the page. I'm 99% sure on that. Let me see.
So that's the downside of using a plugin like the one I was talking about, because if somebody's on my home page, or if somebody, the marketing recap, or if they're on the newsletter page or something like that, something that doesn't have the media embedded in it, I want them to have a different experience, a different type of Twitter card. But if they're on a podcast episode, why not have an audio? If they share the podcast episode, let's have the audio showing up. And, so
yeah, it's like I'll actually tweet out. There's a great Buffer app blog post about Twitter cards.
Buffer has a great blog. So anybody out there, if you're not familiar with the Buffer blog, then definitely go check it out.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I kind of get lost. I got lost in the followers section. So a couple things. It's really nice to see kind of your trend over time of Twitter followers, and around the first of the year when MR Cap started, it's done really well. No surprise. But it's interesting to look at your followers also follow, and look at the overlap. So the number one thing is Mashable. For me, 38% of my followers also follow Mashable. But then, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10 of them, 8 of them. And there's a few people I don't recognize, which is interesting, like this lady, Lolly Daskell. And so I clicked through to her profile. She's got about 1 million followers, and she's a consultant and coach and speaker, and writes for Fast Company and Inc. So I think that that's really interesting, because I'm always kind of on the prowl for more, other influential, cool people on Twitter or anywhere else that I can engage with. And I have kind of my small circle of people that I idolize, like the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world, and it's cool, and I engage with them all the time. But it's hard to find more people like that. So this Twitter Analytics followers section is really interesting to me, looking at that overlap. So I've got about half of these people I'd never heard of, so I'm gonna go check out.
My list is pretty strange. Like the number one overlap is Twitter.
Really?
Followed by New York Times, and then it kind of gets a little weird after that. But it's like I don't do anything for New York Times. I don't follow them. They don't follow me.
Yeah, I've got Mashable and Hootsuite, which don't surprise me. Kim Garst, who is a friend, Mari Smith, and then like 5 people that I've never heard of. And after clicking through, it looks like I followed about half. I followed a couple of them, probably just through like keywords and stuff. But I hadn't really understood the magnitude of overlap between their audience and my audience. So it's really cool, because if if 30% or 40% of my people follow this girl Lolly, and I didn't really know who she was, but now I know, and I can start engaging with her stuff. She's got 1 million followers. That's 1 million people that, if the number scale, then that could be 300,000 followers for me if I can just convince them that they should also follow me.
Yeah, I mean, I have no shot at getting some of these people's followers to follow me. It's kind of crazy. What's the percentage of your top follower, the overlap?
Mashable 38%, Lolly Daskell 38%, Hootsuite 37%, Kim Garst 35%. That doesn't surprise me at all because me and Kim retweet each other's stuff all the time. Manager's Diary, Mari Smith 32%, and a few other guys that I don't recognize. And it tells me the cities and everything. This is really cool.
Yeah. Kim Garst is at 38% for me. But the highest I've got is somebody's at 46%. I don't have any idea who this guy is.
Interesting. That's really cool.
I wonder if that fluctuates over time. I've got Hootsuite too, which is interesting. It's one of the lower ones.
Mm-hmm.
What about gender?
Good question. I clicked through one of the profiles. 1 second.
I'm curious. I'm just curious.
Where? Oh, I see. 65% male, 35% female for me.
Yeah, 66% male. So we're about even.
I'm over-indexing on the dudes. Something wrong.
I'm surprised that us three don't have any of us in the overlaps because we do a lot of stuff together on Twitter. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway.
Right. Yeah, soon. Cool. Well, this is great. This is super helpful. I'm, like I said, I mean, I kind of focused on the Facebook story going into tonight, and so I was doing my research for that and figured you would cover the Twitter, but this is more useful than almost anything else I found today.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we were looking at this. All right, I'm gonna look at tweets now. I like how there's like interest and. Great. Wait. The tweets just goes. It's just the original.
Yeah.
I was looking at the tweets and it won't even let me promote, which is kind of lame. That one will. I tried to promote a specific tweet.
Well, the conversion tracking page does not exist. Is what it says. And then if you go back to home and you click where it says "Get started for advertising on Twitter," it opens the same page up again. So there's a couple links that are broken.
Yeah, there's some bugs to work out.
But overall,
this is really cool though. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And most of this other stuff, the tweets, the followers, the Twitter cards, again, it's different, I think. But the tweets and the followers, that looks pretty much the same. But this homepage is very different. And it gives you a really nice summary. Makes it easy. And, find different people you can engage with, and engage with their followers as well. It's really good. Except for this February guy, that's Blake Jamieson. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this might. I mean, it could give a couple Twitter analytic tools a run for their money.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, interesting.
I think it's great.
Yeah, this is great.
Sean Gardner. Oh, that's who my top follower is.
Who is it?
Sean Gardner.
Sean Gardner. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's. I didn't recognize his Twitter handle because it's not his name, but.
It's marketing profs, right? Is that him?
Hang on. I had a book called The Road to Social Media Success. Available for $4.99 on Kindle. John, I'll be sending you a bill for the ad. Okay. All right, we've had enough fun. So, Blake?
I want to give a super quick shout out to my guy Van. Van and I connected just the other day, and he just sent out a tweet that was a picture of him watching MR Cap.
Oh yeah.
Which is rad. So he's a new listener, and Super cool.
That's great.
Yeah, he made so one of my biggest things on Twitter is that just people take all the kind of personal engagement and interaction out of it and automate everything. And I used to be that guy. I was just talking to Roy tonight about how 2 years ago I used Buffer like crazy, and I had a virtual assistant that would just fill my queue, and I would go on Twitter once a month, and I was literally exactly what I just can't stand today because I'm on Twitter all the time and sending video tweets and sending what's-ups. So this guy Van the other day, had followed me, and I sent him a little video, and then he today replied with this. He made a custom picture that was a picture of him, and it said, thanks so much. I can't wait for your podcast. How can I help you? And it was just so cool to see him like put in the time to do something special that isn't just automated. So just wanted to give him a quick shout out because that was rad.
Oh
yeah.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, Blake, man, you're speaking of that kind of interaction. When you did the story about the Twitter video a few episodes back, I've actually had a couple people who I followed, and they'd turn around and they would send me a personalized, hey, thanks for following, video message from Twitter. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's so cool. It's like I can't decide if it like makes me excited or angry when, if I send somebody a video tweet and just say, hey, thanks so much for following me. I hope you have a great day. I try and comment on something that they're doing or talking about or in their bio. And all the time people will like retweet it. They'll quote the retweet, and then they'll say, this is the best tweet. This is the best welcome tweet I've ever gotten. And on one hand, I'm like, well, that's awesome. I feel, it's not like it took me that long. It takes me just as long as it takes to type. But on the other hand, it's like kind of sad. I'm like, dang, like that's all it takes to like make a really, really good first impression, the best first impression. And if I think about like just in general in life, like who has made the best in life first impression? I don't even know what that I can't even think about what that is. And so for somebody, I don't know, it's really interesting to me that it's so easy to do and doesn't take much time. And Cynthia, this is kind of what I was talking to you about earlier about writing about for the social media club stuff. But yeah, it's just not hard, and so many people could do it and just ruin the vibe. And now I've started tweeting back to people. When somebody sends me like a hey, thanks for following tweet, I'll click to their profile and I'll look at all their recent tweets, and if they're saying exactly the same thing, like thanks so much for following, I love your outlook on life, which is something people tell me because I say, I'm a collector of moments, not things on Twitter. People comment on that a lot, but sometimes people just have this copy paste thing where they're going through and just sending it to 10 people in a row. And I'll take a screenshot of it, and then I'll tweet back to them and include the screenshot and just be like, wow, I feel super special now. Thanks so much for the personalized welcome. It's just ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah, I check my messages every day, and I respond to everything that is not automated. And I always list people who are actually like conversing. Yeah, and it's my favorite are the people who don't think I'm going to respond, and they'll say something mean, and then I'll write back and be like, well, actually, this is why this happens, and here's a blog post. Let me know if you have any other questions. And that's like silence. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Because they're so used to it, like people just don't interact, and they're missing not only a wealth of conversation, but like the ability to connect with anybody. You can't just email anybody. You can send a tweet to anybody, So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because sometimes like I'll shame or whatever, it just like for example I was noticing on on the Twitter analytics thing that we were just talking about. One of my top tweets is an automated tweet from a woman who will remain nameless for now, but people could find it if they wanted to. Who basically sent me an automated DM that said something like, check out our website, and she also always follows back, and she really appreciates me following her, and asked how she could help me. And so I tried to type a reply, but she wasn't following me, and so I basically said, I took a screenshot of message cannot be sent, she does not follow you, and it says, and it says like, I always follow back, how can I help you? And I said, well, if only your auto DM at least told the truth. And then a screenshot of it, and like that's one of my most engaged with tweets. And I've gone to her profile every day for the last few days just to see if she's tweeting, and she is, but every single thing is coming from what I assume is a shortened URL for like something called Deliver It or something. So it's like a buffer, I assume, and all of her tweets are like that. And she probably hasn't even been on Twitter since I mentioned her, and even if she was, she doesn't notice it. Like I feel bad, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. I don't know. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Sorry, you gotta beep that, BJ.
Yeah, I mean, you're sorry. I was, you're not running a magazine. You're not, this is an engagement platform, not a publishing platform. And if you don't engage, no one cares what you publish. So get out there. And,
yeah, I stopped almost entirely. Like if you looked at my tweets, in fact, it's crazy.
All right.
What's that?
There he is.
Oh, did I freeze for a second?
Yeah. He said I stopped almost, and then that was it.
Oh, I was just going to say that in the last few months, all of 2015 actually, I've almost never shared links or like just kind of promote any kind of promotional stuff. I mean, sometimes I'll retweet other people, but I would say that probably 90 to 95% of my tweets right now are just, I'm not putting a period in front of it. I'm not trying to make it public. I'm just trying to have a conversation with one person. And it's not all about like shining the light on me. It's just about building those relationships, and that's really where everything's kind of taken off. I mean, and Cynthia, I know that you've been helping me a ton, which is freaking awesome. But like my followers have doubled in the last 2 months compared to the last 4 years or something. And part of it is stuff that I'm learning from you, obviously, and part of it is just I think that it's just a totally different approach. It's cool.
Yeah, like that. My motto is always like, don't stop trying to be famous and start trying to meet people and introduce you. I mean, you're only as good as can only get as far as the people you know in life. That is a fact. That's right. I made it a fact. Maybe it's not a fact, but it's pretty much a fact. So the more people you know, I mean, the more opportunity you have.
Timothy's tweeting that the story I was just telling, he was watching it all unfold, which is funny because it's great. Like I met guys like Tim, who I never knew, obviously like had no connection with. I didn't know who he was, or he didn't know who I was, or whatever. And then we kind of came together through this, through MRCap, and now we tweet at each other all the time. And if I'm tweeting about how somebody's being an idiot and doing an auto DM, like he's always favoriting or retweeting or chiming in. It's just so cool that like that's like a real relationship. And if Tim like was in Arizona and was like, hey, I'm in Arizona, I'd be like, cool, come here and sleep on this couch right here, like let's hang out. Versus like this other lady who again will remain nameless, like that lady will never get to hang out with me and sleep on my couch. So, there's that.
I know we can go on forever about this.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, yeah, I will chime in a little bit, and then we can move on to the Facebook stuff. But yeah, I like you guys. I actually go back and look at other tweets. A lot of the auto DMs, sometimes I'm not sure if it's automated or not. I've gotten pretty good at picking them out, but I will turn around and go and look and say, see what else, the tweets that are automatically sent, see what other people are getting as well from these folks. And if it, like you said, if it's generic, then it's not personal, and it's why did you even bother? Obviously, it's automated, and you don't really care that much. So yeah, and I've got a whole host of screen caps that I've been taking of stuff that doesn't make sense, where people will ask a question in a DM, like Blake is talking about, and they turn around and don't follow me back, so there's no way I can reply to them. Have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, you can reply to that. You can reply to them, but not in a DM. So they're basically forcing themselves upon public humiliation.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
In the chat, Lucy said, "Hey Tim, nice to see you again. Whatever." And she's like, "How is everything going?" So they're having their own conversations too right now. That's cool.
That's because they're part of the MRCap family.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I just tweeted out that Tim and Van and really Claire, Lucy, any of the MRCap peeps always have a spot on my couch.
Yeah, and Wayne's new, but he's been here like 3 times now. He responds. He's going crazy.
Yeah. It's cool. Super cool. I like it a lot.
I'm like,
all right, Facebook story. I mean, we got a little tangential, but I think it was important and a good conversation to have.
Yes, yes. I also want to welcome George. He was hanging out with us last week, and I didn't realize at the time when I was tweeting him because I was like, man, it's bedtime here on the East Coast, and I looked up his profile. I think he's in New York. So I was a wimp, but I think we stayed on chatting for like an hour or two after the show ended last week. So it was great. It's great to see him back. I didn't scare him off after our talk last week.
That's great.
All right, Blake. So what have you got on Facebook, man? What's going on with this new opened up pipeline of data?
Sure. So essentially, what Facebook has done is they have taken all of this aggregated sentiment and user data, and they have made it, well, not entirely, but they've opened it up to be able to be publicly available. And so basically what I believe Twitter did this like 3 years ago. It's been a long time. But Twitter would let data companies like DataSift, who is Facebook's partner for this specific thing, say, hey, look, we're going to give you access to all of our public tweets, and you can do keyword searches and different queries and figure out, like, just make some. We're just going to give you all the tweets, and then you just search through it, and you can figure out whatever you want. So then third-party companies came in, and tons of data companies popped up, and DataSift is the one that I use as an example because they are the same ones that partnering with Twitter. So what would happen is this created a whole new economy of data companies that would then take millions and millions or hundreds of millions of tweets, and then they could say, well, we want to see how many people in California are talking about X, or anybody that mentions whatever sofas, is it in a positive way or a negative way, or anybody that's like how many people in this city are talking about X and Y in the same tweet or whatever. So basically, this is big data, and you're not looking at anything particular to one particular person or even 100 particular people. It needs to be over 100 people. But they can take all this data, and then whatever you search for, they can basically tell you. And so Twitter did this a long, long time ago, and it created a whole new economy of data companies that then basically were middlemen, and they charged a premium to ad agencies to run these queries and find out all this sentiment data or whatever, and then those agencies would sell it to their clients, and on top of that, before even the data companies got it, I believe Twitter got a piece. So Facebook's doing something similar. They've done it. They've resisted for a long time. So this is different than using Open Graph data to target ads, of saying I want to target ads to people who like green. I can see I'm wearing a green shirt. I'm in a green room. Obviously, I would be in that targeting group. With this new thing, with this Facebook data, rather than saying I want to target ads to people who like X, it is saying, okay, let's look at the giant pool of people who like X. What else about them can I figure out? So this can certainly be very useful information, but it's very enterprise level in my opinion. I think that DataSift specifically, I've heard from a close colleague of mine who actually built a data company when the Twitter data all became not public domain but available, and he did really well, and he sold the company. He raised a bunch of money, then he made a bunch of money, and then he sold the company. So he totally profited from that ecosystem. And I sent him this article today, and I said, what do you think about this? Because from my understanding, when Twitter did this, they were making a cut of the pie. And Twitter's, I think, for a long time been kind of trying to figure out how they're going to make money. And not that they're in any danger of failing, but the reality is for a really, really long time, they were losing money every year. Facebook, I feel like, has been a lot better at making monetization decisions. whether it be the advertising stuff or whatever. They're pretty good at making money and getting it from everyone, from big companies, but also really making it user friendly for the smaller businesses. So with Facebook's announcement, one of the things that was interesting to me is that they said, we're not going to charge DataSift anything. We're not going to have, there's no markup. We're giving the whole fire hose to DataSift. We just want them to help with the distribution. So when I talked to my buddy, he said, DataSift is great, and their tools are awesome, and they're useful, but they're super expensive. So I'm wondering if, and he was referring to specifically to the Twitter data. He said if you're running queries that are, you're getting over 100,000 results back, it's really prohibitive. It's very, very expensive. So he said, well, it's interesting that Facebook's not charging. They're just giving the data to DataSift and saying, you know what, you guys figure it out. So I'm really curious to find out, and I did a little poking around. I can't get access to any of it yet. Like most things Facebook, I'm the last to know, or the last to get access. But I'm really curious. I feel like it's big news because Facebook has so much data on people. I mean, they know if you went to a specific college in a specific city, plus you're from here, or this language, or you buy cat food online, or you do this. Like, there's so many things. So I think that the potential for people with the budget is probably really big. But for smaller businesses and smaller entrepreneurs and stuff, I don't think it really matters. I mean,
yeah,
we have the partner, the audiences. They partner with Epsilon and Axiom and like DLX for all of the audience open graph targeting stuff, which is cool. That can be used by anybody. You got $5 to spend on a Facebook ad, no problem. You can target people that buy cat food online. But for this stuff and looking at like aggregated data that's not personalized at all, you're talking like really big numbers, and I assume you're also talking really big costs.
Yeah, one of the examples that Facebook gave in their announcement was fashion industry. They were talking about a store. So if you have a giant store or a chain of stores, and you were noticing, and using this data, there was a trend of fashion or actually specific type of apparel or specific pieces, that would help the stores to know which items to stock. And I imagine that we're probably talking like a Macy's or somebody like that, the type of company that would use that data.
Yeah, it seems like to me like that's the case. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. So it's interesting because it's kind of, and going back to the Twitter story that we just talked about, it's almost like Facebook was over here and really small business friendly to get started, and then Twitter was like, okay, well let's go after these bigger enterprise clients with all of this data. And now with Twitter's new tool, they're like, well, let's make it easier to just promote from the timeline, and everyone can do it, and it's $10 or whatever. And then Facebook's like, well, let's see what we can do with these bigger enterprise clients. So it's kind of like the power struggle between Facebook and Twitter is like mirrored, and it is interesting to watch. And at the same time, I feel like traditionally or over the past few years, I've been more of a Facebook marketer, but Facebook's building all of these enterprise tools, and I'm kind of trying to get into some more like nitty-gritty stuff. Like, like I said, like I want to send one single person an intro tweet video, and I think that's freaking cool. I want to get more like granular, and they're making it easier for me. Meanwhile, Facebook's giving all these tools to all of these other enterprise companies, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm leaning towards Twitter, I think.
Do you think that there's a chance that, I'm hearing a lot lately that so many smaller businesses and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, those types of folks are actually using Facebook because the ads on Facebook are so much less expensive than advertising on Google AdWords or someplace like that. Do you think it's kind of getting a rap that Facebook is trying to be that Facebook is the place to be for small businesses, and maybe put a bad taste in the enterprise level people's mouths, and so maybe they're trying to come up with more tools to get their money, to get more on ads?
Kind of. So when I first I got into Facebook ads 2010, I think 11. I don't, it's been a long time, and gosh, it was so cheap. Like I could get legitimate page likes for 2 cents, like no problem. U.S. English speaking, no bots, just legit people, 2 cents each, all day, every day. That was great. And you know, and I saw that grow over time, and it's certainly higher than that now, I think, unless I don't know, unless you have some good tricks. I know John Loomer can get pretty cheap fans, but he's got amazing content and reputation. Anyways, that aside, it came to a point where I think I was paying $1 or something for these Facebook fans for some side project, and I'm like, you know, it seems like this is too much. I'd like to see what else is out there. And this was around when Twitter started making advertising available to anyone, because for a long time you couldn't advertise on Twitter. You couldn't promote tweets, you couldn't promote accounts. Yeah. So I did, and it was like, and it even told you ahead of time, like what the estimated, like it was like $1 a retweet, $2.50 a follower or something. And I'm like, that doesn't seem good, but I'll try it. Maybe it's going to surpass my needs. You know, and I spent, I don't know, probably $50, and I got like 20 followers. And I'm like, all right, well, that doesn't freaking work. Like, that's way too, it was just way too expensive, like, for what I was getting. Because, you know, I mean, everyone knows that, like, you know, if you pay for a Facebook ad and you get a Facebook fan, that doesn't mean that you get a sale. It doesn't mean that you earn yourself a lifetime customer. It's up to you with your content and with your engagement and whatnot to convert that then from a like into an email address, and then from an email address into a customer or whatever. So I don't know. In my experience, yes, Twitter was catered towards a more enterprise thing, and Facebook was like the small business, everyday dude like I was. So it just made sense to me, but now it's interesting to see those roles maybe reversing a little bit.
Very cool. All right. Cynthia, do you have anything to add?
Well, you know, I still don't have the new search update, so I feel like I want to talk about this, but I probably won't be able to use it for, you know, the next year or so. No, I think it's great. I think Facebook has a wealth of information, and if we can access that, then I mean, why not? I actually kind of think, though, Blake made a good point saying that Twitter didn't used to offer ads. And I really think Pinterest is going to take off. I don't know. I'm feeling that because I read this article and it said the difference between Pinterest and search engines is that people in search engines search for things that they want or that they need or that they're looking for, and Pinterest is a search engine that helps people make a decision. So you might be introduced to something that you didn't even know you wanted, and it triggers a purchase or a customer or follow, whatever it is. So Facebook, yeah, I mean, thanks Facebook, finally, and you know, good for you, Data Sift, good for you. that's quite a prize you got there.
Data Sift, I learned about them at a social media conference in San Francisco, and they were giving out free moleskins. And everyone, like at these social media conferences, gives out like pretty garbage stuff, like I don't know, kind of crappy USB drives. Sometimes they're good, but usually they're too small for anything I actually need, and they whatever. But DataSift was giving out like legit moleskins that had been kind of engraved almost or pressed or something, branded with DataSift on the top. And I'm like, all right, this company's cool. I love moleskin journals.
I've got one from Channel Advisor right behind me.
Nice.
You can probably see the top of it in my video, my screen. Right. Oh, there goes the mic.
Uh-oh.
That's what I get for trying to do live demo. All right, moving on. So yeah, the DataSift stuff. You have to be a client of theirs, and there's only going to be a handful of people who are going to have access to it right now. Mm-hmm. And hopefully they'll work out all the kinks and open it up to some folks who can afford to, some smaller folks who can afford to use it later on. Mm-hmm. You guys have anything else you want to add before we go tonight?
We're over time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's all right. It was fun, though. You know, I really enjoyed talking about some of this stuff tonight. So.
Yeah.
I hope
No, it
everybody
was
enjoyed
good.
watching it had as much fun as we did. All right.
I see that everyone saw my reflection that I was self-conscious of before to be like, ah, crap, I should fix that. And they're like, ah, it's fine. Of course, we're tweeting about it.
Oh.
That's all good. That's all good. All right. So before we go, I want to ask one more favor of everybody to please take a minute and go leave us a review and rating in iTunes or Stitcher Radio, whatever your preference is. Reminder, a little housekeeping here, that we send out a list of stories along with links to the Hangout each week in our Marketing Recap newsletter. You can get that at marketingrecap.com/newsletter. Also, we curate articles all throughout the week. I mean, you can probably follow any one of us on Twitter and see those articles as they come through. But if you want to go right to the source for where we collect everything, you need to get our Marketing Recap Flipboard. You can get that at marketingrecap.com/flipboard. And with that, we're going to go ahead and
Chrome app. Don't do it. I got to warn everyone to get the Chrome extension. I was on Flipboard today because I was like, oh, what are we going to talk about tonight? And I was like, I don't understand. How do I even flip something? Which is sad because I know we've, what is this, episode 10 or something, but whatever.
Yeah, that's all right, though.
Chrome extension is super helpful. It's great. As soon as I installed it, I'm like, oh, Flipboard's cool. Yeah. But before that, I would just go on. I'd just be like a lurker. I'd read it, but I wouldn't flip anything.
Yeah. So if you come to the Marketing Recap Flipboard, then you will be a lurker, except for Blake and Cynthia. But that's okay. Yeah, create your own Flipboards, and it's really cool to share. And I'm actually enjoying watching people reflip the articles that I put in there and it's another social platform because I'm getting people following me just because of the stuff that I'm flipping into the Marketing Recap Flipboard. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Lots of fun.
All right, so let me go around the room and get everybody to tell everybody how our folks listening and watching can connect with you and what you have going on this week. Cynthia, let's start with you.
Okay, yes, so you can always find me on Twitter at Cynthia Live. Speaking of that, I just want to say thank you to Samantha. She joined us for the first time tonight and rearranged her schedule to be here, so thank you, Samantha. Yeah. So yes, you can find me at Twitter at Cynthia Live, or email me at cynthia@socialmediaclub.org. Send me an email, reach out. I'd love to hear from you guys.
Awesome. How about you, Blake?
We'll do Twitter too. Just been feeling it lately. At Blake Jamieson, Jamieson. But if you follow me, just don't send an auto anything. Don't bother. So
if he follows you back, don't auto DM him.
Yeah, no, I'll follow. Especially, if somebody tweets at me and says a human thing, I follow them every time. There's not an exception to the rule. But if you use robots to try and sell me crap before I even really get to know you, it's not going to be very good. You're going to get publicly shamed.
We have screen caps.
Yep, screen caps all day.
All right. Well, as for me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BJ Smith Strategy. Check out my other show that I love to plug, the Busy Marketer Podcast. And guess what? The new season is launching in just a couple of hours, probably just over an hour.
Woo woo.
Yeah. It's I've got an interview with Jeremy Miller, who is the author and owner of Sticky Branding. So we get to talk about what makes an awesome brand. And I've tweaked the format a little bit, so I would love everybody's input on it. And it'll be up on iTunes and Stitcher first, shortly after midnight tonight, and then SoundCloud and a few others later on. But you can listen at thebusymarketer.com just after midnight tonight. Also, one more announcement from me, because I'm in a plug-in mood tonight. I'm launching a new webinar series, and it'll be based on news stories similar to the ones that we have here, but with a little bit more detail and emphasis on e-commerce. The first one is going to be next Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern, and the topic is going to be tips for preserving Google organic ranking when you move your website. and it's based on a Medium article that I wrote last week. So go register.
That was a great article.
Oh, thank
you. Really good article. Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed it.
It's bookmarked. I've bookmarked like 3 articles on Medium. One is all the best free stock photography. One is an article by Gary Vaynerchuk that just gets me pumped up, and then your article. So that's seriously, people should check that out.
Thanks, dude. I'll tweet out a link then since you said that.
There you go.
Yeah, right after we close out the show, I'll tweet it out. Go register if you want to go hang out at this webinar. Like I said, I'm going to go into some detail stuff, and it'll be kind of interesting. Go register at thebusymarketer.com/webinar. I want to thank everybody who joined us on the Hangout, who joined us on the #MRCap Twitter chat. Go ahead and mark your calendars for the same time next week. We look forward to seeing you guys then. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining Marketing Recap, the show that gives you a peek inside the world of digital marketing. Remember to join us next Thursday for the live show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Google+, or Twitter using #MRCap. And please tell your friends about the show, subscribe via iTunes or Stitcher, and view all episodes and news stories at marketingrecap.com. See you next week.